Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name's Inga. I'm a content developer at Zealed, and I'll be moderating the webinar today. We understand what it takes to run a small business, so we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to join us this morning to discuss some of the features that make an amazing services page for your website. The services page on your website is a really valuable place for showing people who you are and what you do. It's also a really great way to keep people on your site for longer, increasing the time you have to, persuade them to become paying customers. And so today you'll learn all about how to create an effective services page for your website. Our speaker with us today is John Hoomer. He's an agency director at Zealed, and he's been in the industry for over 20 years with a long history of excellence and passion for what he does. In a moment, he'll talk you through how to create an amazing, effective services page for your website. A quick run through of how the webinar will run today. If you have any questions for us, you can send us a message in the chat mode or question mode in the gray panel on the right of your screen. You have the option to message me or John privately if you prefer, and we can also respond privately to you. And we do encourage you to send in any comments, thoughts, or questions that you have during the webinar. We'll be sending out a link to watch the webinar replay after the session is ended. So if you have to run out early or your internet's acting up or you miss anything important, you'll be able to catch up with the webinar recording at another time. We'll also be having our Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. And just to make sure that the chat function is working for everyone, can you please tell us what industry you're in the chat mode or question mode? We also have a special offer for attendees of the webinar. You should be seeing that now, but please let me know if you don't. If you click the link in the gray panel on the right of your screen, you can sign up for one of our free online strategy sessions. These are held with our senior digital business strategists who can work together with you to find out specific solutions that fit your business needs. These sessions are really great and helpful for your business because you can use the time to discuss anything such as your SEO, your social media, your digital marketing strategy, and of course, also your website and how to get your business set up online. And without further ado, here's John to tell you about how to create an effective services page for your website.
O tēnā koutou katoa, and mā lole lei, tuku John, tuku ingoa. Hey, look, welcome, and thank you for joining us this morning. We hope that you find this webinar helpful. I'm here to share some actionable tips and advice to help you craft a services page on your website that brings in new leads, sales revenue, and generally makes your business more successful online. So let's get started. What we'll cover off today, what we intend to share is the following. We're going to dive into 3 key aspects for creating your website services pages. We're going to kick off by first discussing the needs of your target customers and how that factors into content on the web page. Then we're going to go and share some ideas to make some services pages more engaging, potentially captivating for your readers. Then we're going to end with discussing how to get your website visitors, potential clients, to actually take the step to becoming a paying customer for your business or get them to do what you want them to do. So let's get into it. Look, considering the needs of your target clients, when I think of this, no matter what kind of business you run, whether you sell to your customers or other businesses, you want to create a services page that is customer centric. First of all, you need to know who you're marketing to your services or who you're marketing your services to. There are several ways to frame this web page content for those targeted customers, and we'll get into those next. When I think of fantastic service pages, what I particularly think of is, do you truly or deeply understand your target customers or your customer personas? And when you think about your business, you know exactly who your A, B, C, potentially D clients are. and you'll know exactly what their pain points are or what they're specifically struggling with, um, and what you want on these specific service pages is how you can solve these problems for them. So focusing on their pain points can help you write more persuasive content and pitch your services to them more easily. So consider objections a customer might have to making a purchase as well. This will help you craft a services page that gives you site visitors all the information they need and align what you do or sell with what they're currently looking for when they come across your business online or on search engines. So put yourself in the customer's uh, shoes and identify and think about their pain points. Next is focusing on the benefits of your services. Similarly, you can cater to the potential client's needs and problems by framing your services based not on what you do, but how what you do helps them fix their problems. What what you can do is brainstorm all the features of your services and then write about how those features you provide translate into benefits for your clients or customers. One thing that our digital business strategists often do is when they meet with a client for the very first time, or perhaps maybe meet with an existing client and they're re strategizing and identifying opportunities for the following year, we normally go through this process of brainstorming um, all the features that your services might provide your end user or or your products that potentially are being sold to your potential customers or existing customers, and we identify um, how that might help them. And so, looking at your services, really understanding, are they cost effective? Um, are they quicker to implement? Do they make the lives of the end user stress free, or do they make the lives of the end user easier? One what you could do is, for example, look at your services, look at your products, and really truly understand how is it that you help that end user, and focus on those benefits as your services. Okay. All right. Here's just an example of Studio Hound, which is a dog grooming business based in Epsom, Auckland. Um, in this particular example, the services page seen here addresses their customers' needs and points. It's also emphasizing the fact that the dogs are put in the care of people who want pets to look and feel beautiful in accordance with customer-centric specific needs. Customizing the experience for each end user or each customer persona. In this particular example, Studio Hound has understood the different types of clients that they want to market to and their pain points of each of those individual customers. And they're providing the end user with an opportunity of attracting them and funneling them through their their process, and getting them to do what they want them to do. So the website here, or this web page here, also highlights the benefits for the dogs, which is that they will look amazing after the service is done. Okay. So this is just a simple example of a service page that provides the value that you're giving to that end user that's coming to your site, which is essentially coming to your site with a need. And what you need to do as a business owner is, how are you going to create that level of trust to bring his barrier down, to enable that end user to make a choice of either phoning you, emailing you, or doing business with you. Okay. Another thing that you need to also consider when looking at a services page is the benefit of having this page on your website is that you share a lot of in-depth information about the services of your business. So creating a compelling user experience really provides that value. It also is one of the main pages that people will often visit on your site, other than just your homepage or your About Us page. And the main reason for that is because when end users come to a site, they often land on the homepage. They then go to your About Us page to really just generally find out, do I trust these people? Who are they? Yeah, or who is this entity? Who is this organization who I may be considering doing business with? So you want to ensure that you're designing the page and its content in a way that engages the site's visitors and draws them further down into that funnel that I was sort of referring to earlier, that takes them through towards the path to make either an inquiry or make a purchase. And here in this example, where I've got some bullet points here around how to achieve this, write a short paragraph using keywords, incorporate visual assets, or show your results with social proof. Um, when if I'll give you an example, some of the most compelling websites that I've gone on to often have a very good homepage, and it engages the end user and gives me a really good user experience because it lays out the modules on that first homepage really nicely. It explains the story of the end use of the entity that I'm potentially looking at buying from or potentially doing business with if they're a service-based business. And it's laid out all of their services and potentially all their products if they're an online store on that homepage. It then gives me a really good customer journey, and by having a really good user experience for the end user enables you to get them to do what you want them to do, which is ultimately to make a make a choice, take a call to action. For example, do you want them to call you, or do you want them to email, or do you want them to request a quote? And so doing this and creating a compelling user experience enables the end user a faster and efficient way of getting through your site to getting them to do what you want them to do. Okay. All right. Writing short paragraphs with strategically placed keywords. This is one important part that I think is often overlooked. The first thing a visitor needs to see on your services page is a strong benefit-based headline. It should tell people what you do and what makes you different from your competitors. Next, the content on that page should be divided into short, scannable sections of text that go into detail about the features of your services and the benefits customers receive. So if you remember what I sort of referred to earlier around content of understanding your customer pain points, this is where you want that scannable section of text that goes into detail about the features you provide as services and the benefits of customers and what they receive as a result of it. It's important that those sections of the page are keyword rich to match the searcher intent on search engines and written using terminology and language that the average person outside your industry will understand or make sense of. So oftentimes, and I'll give you an example, oftentimes when we take on a project where it's a new client that we've brought on board, we haven't done any digital marketing for them in the past, but we're taking over their potential website and they're wanting us to now also manage their digital marketing work. What we'll often do is we will scan their website and review all of their services pages, understand exactly what services they offer and provide, and then look at who are the audience that they want to attract. We then look at the content related in those service pages, in those service modules. And this is what it's referring to around that service page benefit-based headline and also the related content to those benefit-based headlines. What often happens is that you're using search or keyword terminology that potentially only people inside the industry understand. And what we also challenge our customers or request from our customers is, okay, if people in your industry search for those particular keywords, what percentage of those customers do you want? And let's just say that it's 100%. So they don't really want any new customers. Okay, then we'll leave those search terminology in that service page as it is. But if they want new customers, and those new customers don't often use those search terminology keywords in the industry, then we look at, okay, so what are keyword synonyms, or what are synonyms that potentially your end user might be searching for that may not use these specific keywords in your industry. Okay, and so we would use other keywords related to your specific terminology keywords in your industry to enable you to be found and then enable you to capture that audience that you're not reaching at the moment. Okay. When we get into that benefit-based headline and draw visitors into specific sub-pages, you're using subheadings, you're using bullet points, because those specific keywords are going to be incorporated into the match keyword search used by the Google algorithms, etc., to enable you to be found naturally and organically online. Okay. All right. Incorporating visual assets like imagery or statistics. Now, obviously, if I was to ask you this question, most images tell 1,000 words. And oftentimes you have an image next to a particular benefit-based headline. It tells that story straight away. It captures and draws your end user in. Now, to make it more engaging for the end user or the visitor and entice them more to take the step that you want them to take, please incorporate visual assets into the page where relevant and where it makes sense. For example, you can use a photographer, specific photography or videos or even colors and graphic design to tell a story about what you do and how you do it. And I'll just give you an example here. What I also like about using visual assets like imagery is when you're trying to tell the end user or your customer what process you take them through. So, for example, if you're an accountant, or if you're a tradie, or or any type of trade, oftentimes customers call you and they usually explain what it is that they want. So they call you and they say, "Hey, you're a builder. Hey, do you do renovations? Look, this is the problem I have. 4-bedroom home. I'm looking at building an extension here and a deck, etc. Blah 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 blah. And are you able to quote something up?" What normally happens after that is once the builder or the tradie has quoted the work, they normally ask, "Well, what process do you take us through?" And so having the process as an image, telling the story of what you take the customer through, often builds a lot of credibility and trust. And in some instances, it increases your chance of lowering that guard of the customer before even making a decision. And by lowering the customer's guard, you have a higher chance of converting them into a customer. Okay, so images should be authentic and show your business. So no stock photos are needed here. So be specific there around that. In relation to sharing testimonials or case studies, yeah, you want to be able to provide visual assets. This really improves the credibility and trust, but it also increases where they then talk about you, and you can also share something that you might have that sets you apart to anyone else, like statistics, graphs, or any specific data from results that you've achieved from past clients. That really proves the value that you're bringing to the end user or the site visitor that's landed on you, considering that you are one or maybe two or three choices. Okay, so data, live statistics, graphs, images are visual assets to helping you in your service pages. Okay. Okay. Sharing social proof that resonates with target clients. Look, including social proof such as a testimonial or case study of past customers you've worked with is another way of keeping your service page customer centric, but it also persuades them to do business with you. This is vital because it gives the real examples of what you've achieved and how you've solved other people's or end users or customers' problems in the past. And you know what? Those problems might be very similar to the end user that's now visited your site. You can do this by sharing social proof on the services page. 1 minute. Sorry about that. So you can do this by sharing this content, this information on your social proof services page, and by linking it to other content on the website, such as your portfolio page or maybe a reviews page. So interconnecting each page off your website really also provides a really good customer experience, but also enables you to really understand the customer funnel that you're wanting to take the end user through. Okay, so testimonials, reviews from previous clients, think about that. Case studies, very, very powerful because it explains the problem, it explains the solution, and it also often explains the process that you took that potential customer through or existing customer through. And lastly, there, linking to portfolio pages or other work that you've done within your service pages. Okay. Here's just an example of the Gentle Gardener, which is based in Auckland. As you can see from their services page, it strategically places graphic design elements, some bold colors, and photography. And these images are specific to the different services available from the business. The bottom of the page here is also which also features a section of image and text that highlights testimonials and positive reviews from past customers. So if I was to think about if I was a customer and I landed on this specific page, this page would draw me in because it's ticking all the boxes. It's enabling me to see a number of different trust elements. I've seen graphic design. It's appealing for me. I'm very much a image person, to be frank. And then I look at the content. And so with these images, it draws me in because it's telling me that I've landed on the right site. I've landed into a right website potential business that I might be considering to do business with. But now it's also going a slightly higher level where it's providing me specific services available to their business. And it's giving me everything that I need. It's highlighting testimonials, which I will end up reading because I'm like, okay, I want to build that credibility of trust. My trust levels might be very, 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 very low at the moment. My guard might be very, very high. How can I lower that guard? Well, obviously, I'm going to read those reviews. I'm going to read those testimonials, and I'm going to try to resonate whether or not it was their problem very similar to my problem, and is this business a business that I'm worth taking a risk on to request a quote. And yeah, from there, I think it would be who I like the most, and who's ready to do business with me, and obviously timing, etc., delivery, etc., also plays a factor in decision making as well. Okay. Okay, encouraging potential clients to take action and become customers. Now, obviously, once you've adapted the copy on your website services page to focus on your ideal customers, particularly answering all of their problems, answering potentially their concerns, funneling them through, and then also providing that formatted page to be able to captivate the reader or any site visitor. The next step is enticing that site visitor to take action, or to take specific actions towards them becoming a potential lead for you or a potential paying customer for you. And so we'll go through a few different ways to do that. And just to sort of cover off how to achieve this, obviously giving them a clear call to action, a specific action you want accomplishes what you want them to do. And in this case, in this particular image here that I've got as an example, it's got shop now. If you think about Netflix, and Netflix is a really good example of clear call to actions. If you go to Netflix, it just says, sign up now, 30-day, I think is it 30 days, you get it, and if you don't want it, you can cancel it, but it's just got one call to action, and that's all you do. It's got nothing else. It's just got Netflix, this black screen, and then just click here and sign up. So that's a very clear call to action. The other compelling thing about Netflix is that oftentimes Netflix, you only know Netflix is because someone else has told you about it, and so their word of mouth, their increase of trust is already up here. So you've often been either researching about it, or you've either been told about it, and so your guard is low anyways, and so you're already in the ready to buy mode anyways if you end up going to Netflix. But there's a clear call to action, and that's what I'm trying to pinpoint here. Is they've got a very clear call to action, which is sign up. That's all you have to do. Obviously, linking to additional information can also be social proof pages, which we sort of referred to earlier. Share a lead magnet with them, which is a temporary opportunity to capture information to then increase conversion later down the track, and we'll get through to that very shortly. Okay. So what action do you want your site visitors to take next after reading about your services? You want them to become a customer, or you want them to become a client? To do that, you need to add a compelling call to action, and it's normally tabs, either find out more information from you or become a client. Keep it simple and clear to follow the next steps. For example, here, how to get in touch could be a potential call to action. Where to email you, how to call you, what form to fill out, what button to click on. You want to make this process as clear and transparent as possible to, one, capture the information that you're trying to get off them, but two, build credibility and trust. Okay, so just make this part of the process as clear as possible, and I often encourage my customers to make sure that it's a big button if it needs to. I mean, not too big, but big enough so that the end user knows that that's the call to action that you want them to take. Okay. Link to additional information. Look here, you can persuade a potential customer by sharing additional information that they might be wanting to know about you before deciding to work with you. This might be a link to another page on the website that emphasizes your past work, like your portfolio pages, clients, or social proof to highlight specific results you've gained. Look, it also could include linking from your main services page to a secondary sub-page that is focused on that specific service. One of the other things you can do that really entice potential clients is to share transparent information about the pricing or services of your services. And I say that because a lot of my clients say, well, should I should I have my prices there? Well, I always ask them, well, are you prepared to take another 10 calls a day if it's just about the price? And if they are, then look, yeah, don't put the price. But if they don't want to, it's an easy way of filtering out time wasters. And potential customers that potentially you don't want to have to invest time in. And so I encourage, service-based businesses particularly to put their prices. So showing your prices lets you set expectations about the cost of your work that you potentially provide, but it helps them move along in their decision-making process fairly easy, fairly quickly. Okay. Look, share a lead magnet. I have a 50-50 ratio of customers that sort of said, oh, I don't like lead magnets. They're a bit of a time waster. Look, it really depends on what you're hoping and trying to achieve here. The value behind a lead magnet is that everyone loves things free, and so providing free information potentially can become a paying customer. Yeah. And so a lead magnet, such as a free offer before becoming a paying customer, is another way to narrow down who of those visiting your website are truly interested in doing business with you. This can appear in the form as a form of a call to action to get a free phone call session, or potentially a free trial or a demo. And in some cases, it also could appear as a link to a downloadable resource, or even like a free brochure that provides them more compelling information to build trust and credibility, so that in return, what they're giving to you is their email address. Okay, and that's powerful because now you have a customer who is potentially hasn't paid you anything, but has requested something that you were quite prepared to give away for free anyways. But in return, they've now given you a contact, an email address. And now, hey, look, if you've got the email address, and if they were prepared to put their email address to get this information, wouldn't you think that they were interested in your services to start with? And now you've got a lead. Yeah. And so it gives you that opportunity. So if you're building leads and you're quite happy to have a slow burn or even a long burn leads list, then a lead magnet works a treat. And it's also gives you a 50-50 chance of turning that lead into a sale, because now you've got a reason to call this customer, even though that they've clicked on the link, they've put their email address in return to get a downloadable uh, resource or brochure or some sort of free information about your services. You've now got a lead of either emailing them back and requesting, hey, you're quite happy to have a catch up, or how can I help, or in return you want their mobile number. You can set these lead magnets up to be able to capture the information that you want to enable them to come into your leads funnel. Okay. And last is just this example of MBS Advisors, who are based in Morrinsville, Waikato. It has a services page that features two prominent get in touch, okay, buttons to show site visitors how to progress forward with them. It's not shown here in the image, but the website also links from the services in the navigation bar to the sub pages that link to additional information about specific services. Okay, so having clear call to actions, linking to social proof pages, providing businesses building that credibility and trust. This example here is fantastic. Okay. Well, I think that's me. I'll now turn the time back over to Inga.
Yeah. And just a quick reminder, everyone, to sign up for one of our free online strategy sessions if you haven't already. and now it's time for your questions. We want to know what you're struggling with or any other questions you have about how to create a services page. So if you have any questions, just take a moment now to send them in. And while you're doing that, I've got one question I wanted to ask you, John, and that's what should I write about in my website's services page? Like what specific information?
Yeah. Well, obviously, other than the services that you provide, like the solutions that you provide for your customer, I would encourage you to think about what their problems are and how your services are a solution to those problems. So, if we go back to the beginning of this presentation, where identifying your customer personas, identifying those A, B, C, D clients, and identifying what their problem is for each of those customer personas or customer segmentations that you provide a solution for. Just discussing those problems, so articulating those problems and writing that content in your services page, and then tailoring what your solution or what your services do as part of a solution to those issues or concerns or problems from the customer.
Yeah. And should you try to aim for like talking to one persona's pain points or multiple ones if you have multiple customer personas?
Yeah, good question. I would stipulate all of them, especially if your services answer a number of problems, because it just enables you to then have the ability of your website being found when people are searching for their problem. Because obviously they're searching for a business to answer a problem to their, to their concerns or issues. And so if you're able to be found naturally and organically as a result of the content that's on your website, because you've stated that this is a problem that you sought or that that you're able to provide a solution to, then you've got that opportunity of being found as a result of the end user. And remember, not everyone in your industry talks the same language as you do. And so if you're able to capture a large audience, but filter through as many clients that actually you want to do business with, then that's great, because it's best bang for buck.
Yeah, great. And thank you for that. And throughout this presentation, we've looked at a couple examples of services pages. Would you say it's better to have one service page that speaks to all of your features and services, or to break it up into multiple service pages?
Yeah, look, short answer is break it up into multiple service pages.
Yeah,
but have one module component on the homepage that potentially explains all of the services that you do. So, for example, if you were a builder and you did house renovations, decking, and maybe new builds, on your homepage, you want to be able to explain that there might be like a services module on the homepage, which is a component on that homepage piece. You might have those three components there of the three services that you provide to those three specific markets. But when you click on each individual component, it takes you through to its own specific service page based around new builds. For example, the same for the other around renovations or for decking, etc. So, short answer is break them up, because you want to be able to then have in your toolkit later on, if you drive traffic for new builds or renovations or decking, and you're doing some marketing, you can use those services pages as your major landing page for any of your marketing that you might be doing as a off the website.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
And in those services pages, because it just crossed my mind now, would you want to have the same, if you're including lead magnets, would you want to have the same one across all of them, or different lead magnets to match different services?
It really depends what you're offering for free.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have a lead magnet and your lead magnet is we're providing you with a free consultation, then obviously it doesn't really matter what page you end with. But it really depends on what's the objective of that lead magnet. So if it's a free consultation, then obviously it's capturing information and then enabling that end user to book in a time into your calendar or whatever it might be. Or if it's a free brochure that explains your processes, explains your portfolio and the customers that you deal with, and it's a 12-page brochure, and in return you're wanting their mobile number and email address, one, so you can email them the brochure, but two, so you can call them and follow up and say, hey, I noticed that you requested a brochure. One, have you received it? Two, how can I help you? So it really just depends on what it is that you're hoping to do with those lead magnets. Lead magnets can be used for specific campaigns. But then it's actually a lot more, we need to do a lot more work around that lead magnet if there's specific call to actions for specific services that you're wanting to capture that end user through.
Okay. And we have time for one more question, and I've got that here because we don't seem to have any questions from attendees, but that's okay. You talked a little bit about pricing towards the end. How important would you say pricing information is on your whole website or your services page?
Yeah, look, I say this with a huge amount of respect, but when I go to a website and there's no pricing, I leave the site straight away.
Same here.
Because I know that if I go to another site seconds later, I'll be able to see the price. I think, and once again, I say that with a huge amount of respect, because some businesses, they don't want to display pricing because their call to action is not about pricing. It's about, we want you to engage with us so we can take you through a custom, we want to provide you a custom solution. I get that. But if there's pricing there, it just enables me to be able to be like, oh yeah, I trust this person. He's putting his pricing there. He's enabling me to make a choice to either call him, and he's getting me to make that next step. This particular business is making me feel like, oh yeah, he's answering all my questions. I'm going to make a phone call to this end user. And if that's your call to action, then great. But look, if you don't have any pricing, and the pricing solution isn't created until you have a conversation with the customer, then I get it. You don't put the price there, because that's just your model. That's your business model. Your business model is based around a customer calling you, you having that conversation with them, you and the customer then coming up with what the problem is that needs to be solved, and then how you can solve it. And then part of that solution is, this is the price. I totally get it. You probably don't need the pricing, but it's very important to put the price there.
Yeah, and it's also like a case-by-case sort of basis, depending on what the person actually wants done.
Correct. That's right.
Yeah. Cool. We haven't got any other questions, so I think we'll end the Q&A here. Thank you for all your answers, by the way. I'm sure everyone will find them really helpful.
Cheers. No problem at all. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We have an exciting new topic for our next webinar, which is all about how to create lead magnets for your small business, and that'll be on July 27th. Lead magnets are a really great way, as John said earlier, to captivate your audience and get them interested in going down that funnel with you, with your business. And when is it? The 27th is a few weeks away, so if you want to wait until then, you can also visit our webinar library for more digital marketing resources until then. This is the end of our webinar today. A special thank you to John again for taking the time to join us and teach us all this really cool information. And another thank you to all of you for joining the webinar today and asking us or taking the time to learn with us. We'll see you again on July 27th. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.